Now to continue our conversation in as far as the role of political parties, peace and development on the African continent ahead of the Africa Day, which falls tomorrow, is Sikwindi, who is UPND media advisor. When we talk about the media and looking at the engagement we just saw, how important is it for leaders to actually interact with the media and give their thoughts in as far as what the people are expecting?
It is very, it's extremely important because, you see, governance is about information. It's about communication. So if you have all the good things on your side and you're not able to share the story, then it becomes problematic because then people are acting out of a position of ignorance and not knowing what is obtaining based on the decisions that they made putting you there. So when you are in power, we owe it to the people to explain to the people what we have done for them, for their benefit, so that we can carry them along. Because whatever we do in public, office, it's about the people. We represent them.
One of the cancers that people talk about, and looking at the topic that is on hand in political parties promoting peace and development, is that once people are elected into power, there seems to be a disconnect with the realities on the ground. And it's at every level. If you're talking councillors, you're talking members of parliament, people will give you this feedback that, oh, we haven't seen them. And this is not just a problem unique to Zambia, but also on the continent. How do we foster development in that regard?
I think it's a subject of accountability. It's also the subject of ambition. It's also a subject of the reason why people go in public office. I think we have to change the narrative, shift the narrative. There's no way we should be going to, your ambition is to make money and you want to go and serve in a public office. And I think the president has been very clear on that. He simply says, go on, serve the people, do what you are supposed to do for the people. If you want to make money, go and make money elsewhere, then come back, and serve. So the reasons that foremostly form the reason why we go to serve, must attend to that which the people want. That's what calls us, to duty. So most of the occupants of the political offices, as we see across many, countries, are informed and interested by totally different things. The key issue is, can you go and serve the people? And if you want to go and serve the people, there's no way you will ignore the voices of the people. There is no way you will depart from that which you promised the people, to do. And you can see, our president has delivered. He's delivered beyond expectation, as I had said. Reason? Because he made a conscious decision to step into politics, to offer a service to the people, the community, And this sense of community is very important, within this, arrangement of leadership. Who do you owe your responsiveness, your activities, your thinking, and the space that you occupy to? You must owe it to the people. And as long as we do that, I think that our countries will be on the right trajectory to blossom. Earlier you had spoken about the issue of the freedom, Africa Freedom Day, and how the independence and everything else. I think there was a young man here who spoke very well about those activities. The key issue is we want political independence. That's why we are republics. But after that, what next? Economic independence, and this is the hallmark of the UPND strategy. That's what constituted us in the first, place. We were formed to ensure that there is equality of opportunity, that there is equity, that we have a rights-based approach to resolving the challenges of the people across, different, Zambia's own, if you like, multifaceted, society, where we come from different backgrounds, different formations, but that's what describes the beauty, or that's what paints the beauty, the fabric that we see of a nation that is born out of different tribes, different, way of doing things, and yet they operate as one. I think there's a colleague one time in politics who used to call this, unity in diversity, because that's a beauty that, Zambia has. So how do you then, have a political organization that is responsive to this nature and deals with the inequality of opportunity, deals with issues of seclusion, so that every person, no matter what small their tribe is, they should feel a sense of belonging, so that every person, no matter what their social and economic position in society, they must feel a sense of belonging and be ready to contribute to the rebuilding, the remaking of a country such as ours. And I think that, African political parties and the African governance system must, swiftly attend to the need to see to it that there's economic independence. Why? The president, on his recent, press conference at State House, he did attribute, or he did, intimate that he is working behind the scenes to resolve the issues of the cost of money that Africa receives. That's being pragmatic, and that's being done under the spirit of Pan-Africanism. And the young man here earlier had said something interesting. I keep referring to him because I was very, he impressed me, beyond measure, because you have a young man who understands these things very well and is very articulate. So the president said, there is no way the cost of borrowing money for Africa should be different from the cost of borrowing money for other nations. And he was working with others to get that resolved. There is what you may term as economic apartheid, where, there are certain economic, facilities that you can't do. I'll give you my own example. I'm about to publish a book, and I have problems with listing under the what they call the KDP of Amazon, where to receive payments, because the country Zambia has not recognized that system. So those are the things that we need to deal with, so that Africa is seen as an equal, in the world, affairs, and one that wants to contribute to global justice, one that wants to contribute to the world of progress and respect for all, others. Our nature is that we are people who are have a placid disposition. We believe in other people, and we welcome, people from all over, different places. Now, that is a good thing that we must, trade ourselves to the world with. That should be the signature tune. People should form mantras out of our nature, different mantras that speak of who we are, Ubuntu. And our president is seriously looking at ensuring that, we trade on issues of how can we have how can we get more benefits from democracy and good governance?
As we conclude, just under a minute, what will spell success for the African continent in looking at Africa Day and the next 40 years? We're at 60 years of commemorating this day, 40 years to hit a century.
I think that clearly we are lagging behind most of the hopes and aspirations that we gave ourselves at independence. We attend political freedoms, but we must have strengthened this pillar of economic, freedoms. But there's something else that is also important even within this space. There is need for laws in Africa to be made with the consciousness of a cultural background of who we are. Most of our laws, are now going out of the yardstick of being culture right, when it comes to Africa. That should be, it should be something that we should resolve, so that we are true to ourselves, even as we interface with everybody else in the world. But there's also unleashing our potential, the young people's potential. The issue of technology is critical, but we cannot do that until we entrust all our nations to the fundamental respect of the simple rule of economics, being able to produce what we eat, to produce what we consume, if you like, but also being able to start, to speed the agenda of industrialization when it comes to Africa, so that Africa becomes a contributor rather than, one that's always going around with a begging bowl.
Consumption. Yeah. Thank you so much, Mr. Sikwindi, for coming.
Thank you.
Situla Sikwindi is UPND media advisor, and we're looking at the role of political parties in peace and development on the African continent. Let's go straight to issues of conflict resolution.